Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about how to do some searches on Familysearch. And Familysearch is the site that I use to do my searching. A lot of people ask, can you do your family history research for free? And you absolutely can. And if you want to do that for free, I would recommend that you use Familysearch. Now, you can certainly use Amazon, or not Amazon, you can use Ancestry, you can use a lot of different websites for searching. Some are free, some have free trials, but Family Search is dedicated to uh, free research for people to find history on their family members. So we're going to use that, and that's what I use for my research most of the time. We're going to show you one of the different ways in which you can search on the Family Search site. We're going to do just a standard search in this video. I'll do another video for doing other types of searches, but we're just going to do a standard search on this one. And we're going to use, for all of the searches here, we're going to use this couple. I don't know if it's Vio or Vio. I'm going to go with Vio and George Hebron. So they were married. You can see Vio was born in 1893, and we have her down birthplace in Michigan. I haven't checked her for a while, so I haven't updated whether I have been able to find a death certificate or anything for her yet, or a date of death, so I have that open still, although I'm sure she's not still alive. And we can see that her parents were Artemis Bartholomew and Cora Fellows. Cora Edith Fellows. Those were her parents. So we're going to do a search for her using just a standard search that you can do on any genealogy website. But well, like I said, we're going to use familysearch.org. And once again, it is the website that I use to do the majority of my searches. I host my tree on Ancestry. Even though I no longer have a paid subscription, you can still host your tree on Ancestry even if you don't have a paid subscription. So I maintain it because I like the looks, and there's some functionality I like, and I'll talk about that in a different video. But we're going to use familysearch.org to do our searches and see if we can find information about this person and this couple. And we're just going to do a standard search. You can see as you go to the Family Search website, once you log in, they'll ask you to make an account. It doesn't cost anything, but they'll ask you to make an account, and they don't flood you with emails, and it's a pretty straightforward process. But you can host your tree on here as well. I just choose to do Ancestry. But you can see a lot of the different tabs at the top. We're not going to take time to look at all those. We're just focusing on searching today. And we'll click on the search button, and a drop down will come out, and you can see you can search records, images, family trees, genealogies, catalog, books, and research wiki. We're going to just do a standard record search. So I'm going to click on records. A search page will open. Now they've updated theirs recently. I'm going to close this. They have updated theirs recently, but still, in general, the same. You have a place with fields for entering the data that you know. And so let's enter a little bit of that data. So our name, we got that. Yeah, Bartholomew. Oops, Mew. I can't even type today. O-M-E-W. We know she was born in Michigan in 1893. And you can click on more options if you want to see some additional fields. You can enter spouse, mother, father, other person. But we'll just enter that basic information here for right now on this search. We'll click on search. You'll see this search field opens over here. I'm going to close that just because expand these a little more. And you can see that we have a list of records that Family Search has found they think may be applicable to this person. So we're going to go through and look at kind of what they have down here. Now, if I wanted to, for example, narrow that search field down more, I could certainly click on this search button. That field that we closed a moment ago with all the additional fields will open up, and we could enter more information to hopefully narrow some of these down. But I'm just going to leave it alone for right now. So the first record that you'll show here is Michigan births 1867 and 1902. She is the principal. That means she is the main character in this record. We'll show her birth, December 5th, 1893, Sylvan Township, Osceola, Michigan. And parents, Artemus Bartholomew and Edith Bartholomew. We know her mother's name was Edith Fellows, Cora Edith Fellows, but Artemus Bartholomew was her father. So you have several things over here you can click on. One is the family tree person. So we'll talk about that when we search by family tree. This is a little camera icon that you can click on to view this record image. And this is, you can click on this to view the details or the indexed information from the record. Maybe you don't want to see the record necessarily. You just want to see the details from the record. So let's look at that first. And this is kind of what it'll look like. You have the name, birth. Over here, if there is an image available, you'll be able to click on it and go from there. But then you'll have the information in a readable form, so you can get that information quickly from there. Sometimes, and I mentioned this in one of my other videos, when you're looking at original documents, they didn't print, and some of the people didn't have really good handwriting, what I would call good handwriting, although back then it was probably excellent handwriting. It was fancy and a lot of curly Q's and swirlies and things like that. What sometimes makes it harder to read. So if you just want base information, now this could be wrong. Someone could have looked at that and saw a B and thought it was an R, so there could be some differences in here. But you can get the basics from here information. What's listed on the record, her parents' names are listed on the record. And you can cite this information if you want to cite the record, which I'd recommend you do if you find a record that you cite it so other people can know where you got it from. And then similar records also are listed over here. So if you just want the bare bones information and you don't actually want to see the record, you would just click on that little tab over to the side. Close this again. Over to the side and just see the indexed information, the details of the record. But I always like to look at the image of the record, because sometimes, and most of the time, there are things in the actual record that aren't in the details or aren't indexed. So I like to click on that and look at the actual record if one exists. So let's just look at this record. I'm going to zoom in and this page will open. And you can see this is a log or an index of births in Osceola County, Michigan. And you can see this is Irene, England. These are not the people we're looking for until we get down here to the fifth record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's why I said record number 5. And you can see record 216, Vio Bartholomew. She was born on December 5th, 1893. You can see those tabs at the top, date, surname, male or female. You can see she was female, she was white, she was born in Sylvan. Now, if you can imagine a book that's laid open, this would be the left hand page of that book that's open. If you want to see what's on the next leaf over, or the next page over, the right-hand page of an open book, you could just click on this next tab, and it would take you to that record, that next page, and you can see this is just a continuation of that previous page with information on the parents. And once again, the fifth record down is R, a person we're interested in. You can see Artemus Bartholomew and Edith Bartholomew. It doesn't show her maiden name. They are currently residing in Sylvan. You can see their birthplace and the occupation of the father, as well as when the record was created, or actually put down. So, born in Sylvan, they were both born in Michigan, and he is a farmer. So there's quite a bit of information that you can gather from that record in that way. So we'll go back and see what the next record is that they say is a potential record. And we see here, that's her name. It was a bride, and this is Indiana marriages from 1811 to 2019. So you can see it's a marriage license. The date it was issued. It shows her birth date, parents' names. This one does have her mother's maiden name. But I noticed one thing right off the bat. The birth date on the birth record is December 5th, 1893, and the birth date on the marriage record is 1892. Now, whether that is a mistake in whoever created the record, whether they were given the wrong information, um, I've had cases where people who were 17 gave an incorrect birth date to make them 18. Although in most cases, back in the 19th century and even early in the 20th century, the if you were under 21, you had to have parental consent. So being 18 or 19, it wouldn't make really any difference in some cases. But anyway, somehow they got a different date, a different year on here. But we'll look at the record and see if maybe that's just a transcription error. So once again, the three options, I always like to look at the image. And then this document will open up. And you can see this is a multi-page document. We're going to zoom in. This is an application marriage license for the male. Alright, application is made for a license of V.O. Bartholomew to George Hebron, I'm not sure. See the Christian name, White, born in Everett, Michigan, when born 1892. So that's definitely not a transcription error. It's an incorrect error, whether it was an error given incorrect information to the person creating the record, or whether it was just an assumption. They said December 5th and I'm 18 or whatever, and they just calculated wrong. We'll never know that probably. Where they currently are living, current occupation, she is a teacher. Christian name of her father, Arthur. Now that's the westernized version of Artemis. His name is color white. His birthplace, he born in Everett, Michigan. His occupation is a carpenter. His residence in Lawton. Edith Fellow, she's white. She's a housewife. You can get a lot of information on this, on these records. One thing I want to cover is sometimes records are not just single-page records, and we showed that a little bit on the birth record. But you can go back and forth between pages here to see if there's more information on another page of that document. So if we go to the next page, we can see this is an application for Victor Atkinson and Cora Hyde. So that's not the person we're looking for. So we'll go back to our record. Let's go forward a page or backward a page. So this is part of them here. So this is the application for the female. So apparently they needed. I do notice one other thing that's kind of strange. So this is the application for the female, but on the page for the application it says male. So they've got those cover pages backwards. So George Hebron, married to Victor Bartholomew, and these are the questions for him. So you can see when he was born, where he was born, where he currently lives, his current occupation. He's an electrician. You can see the information about his parents. His father is a farmer. His mother was a housewife. Where they were born. And then there's always these questions which I kind of laugh, or have they ever been in an asylum? Is this their first marriage? Are they afflicted with tuberculosis, venereal, or other disease? Is he an imbecile, feeble-minded, idiotic, or insane? Some people may think that by filling out this very form that yes should be the answer to one of those. But I'm not going to make that assumption. He said no, so I'm going to assume he's no. So you can see the records there. And then we'll go back to the list of records, and you can see here the next one down is another birth record. Now this one says Michigan births 1867 and 1902, and this one says there's a census, we'll talk about those, and this one says Michigan County births 1867 and 1917. So the title of that record is different, which would make you think that the information on the record is different. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a different record named with a different name, but let's look at it if we can. And there it is right there. We'll click on that. And you can see this is a same or similar type of record. It's not the exact same record. And I can tell that right away because the birthplace here is stamped. And on the the other record that we saw, the birthplace was handwritten. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see it's down here, record 216. That's our person. The same information, though, that was in the other record, including the same date. So my impression of this, and I could be wrong, just my initial impression is that that first record that we looked at was given or taken at the time, and this is a copy of that first record, perhaps for the state, and that other copy was kept in the county, but that same information was taken down and kept in two different records, which is always a good thing to have backups of records. Same thing I recommend we do today in family research is when we download things that every once in a while we make a backup copy of it, because you don't want to lose a hard drive or have some kind of computer issue and then all of a sudden, boom, all of your records are gone. So always good to have a backup of those things. So you can see how you can scroll through these records, and these are just records that Familysearch has found that they think are potentially informational for the search information that you've put in. Well, love that. That you have entered. So here, let's look at a census, just so you kind of get an idea what a census would look like. I don't know why I clicked on that button. Let's click on the view the record, and this should take us to the census page in which she is listed. And censuses have a lot of different information on them. Most censuses have different information each year. Censuses are taken every 10 years, and sometimes they change the information that they want to collect in a census. They may ask a question in one census and never ask that question again, even though you wish they would ask that question every time. But this is a list at the top that lists every location or every question that they've asked in these censuses. So let's just kind of scroll down, find our family, Bartholomew. Alright, so here's a Bartholomew, but you can see that this is not our Vio Bartholomew that we're looking for. And our Vio is right here under Artemis Bartholomew, whereas this one looks like Esley Bartholomew. So perhaps siblings. This head is 28, and this Artemis is 32, so very well could be siblings who just live next door to each other. So you can see that Artemis was the head, Edith is his wife, Vio his daughter. She was born in 1893. This is the 1900 census, so she would have been 7. That looks like a 7. Actually, it's an F for me, female, sorry. Age 6, not turned 7 yet. And single, born in Michigan. Parents born in Michigan and Michigan. No occupation here. Obviously, it's 6 years old, but her father was a farmer. So, and then you can see other people who are listed, Veer and Vesta and Florence, also in that family. So you can get a lot of information about the family from these particular records. Sometimes they just have an age listed. This particular census, the question was month and year, so that's always a good thing to have, the month and the year. So the 1900 census asked those questions. This particular census I also see asks number of years they're married, mother how many children, and how many of those children are still alive. Now some censuses asked the age at first marriage, not number of years married. So you have to look at the top of the census form to see exactly what the questions are. As you can see, they've been married 8 years, had 4 kids. All 4 of them are alive. And there they are, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, once again, you can get a lot of information from a census. Let's look at that 1910 census just to see what the different questions are at the top. So, in the 1910 census, see if there's anything different than major difference than the 1900 census. I know in one of the censuses, I don't remember which one, 1920 or 30, they asked if the family owned a radio. So we're really interested in knowing, the government is interested in knowing if people owned radios. So let's see the questions. So relationship, size, color, age, okay, number of years of present marriage. So I think in the last census maybe they had a question about, well, does that mean this census, or someone was married 10 years in a first marriage and now 6 in a second? Would that be 14, or we just put, so they narrowed that down, number of years of present marriage. And then once again, number of children born, number of children living, place of birth, that's all, those are all the same questions. Whether able to speak English, it should have been yes, but they just put English down on all these. The trade or profession, the general nature of the industry, they didn't have that in the last one. And then whether an employee, an employer, or working on own account, kind of blurry there. If they're an employee, whether or not they worked on that week of the census, number of weeks of work during the year 1900, how many weeks they worked during 1909, whether able to read, whether able to write, and then, well, hard to read some of those. Some of these are government type questions that are hard to tell because they just use codes, and you'd have to look up the codes to see what those codes mean. But once again, you can get a lot of information from these censuses, and someone has taken the time to go down below here and to index all that information. But once again, they could misread. You can see how the handwriting, although this one is pretty easy to read, you can see sometimes how very fancy handwriting could be misread. I mean, would you think that's an F or a C or some other letter? So you can just see how there could be some potential difficulties there. So that's basically how we would find that information. So once again, that's just a standard record search. Familysearch will go through their documents and find records that they think might be important to get you information on the person that you're entering information in. And you can see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a find a grave. 7. We won't take time to open all these. This one, she is the mother of the person who died on this death certificate, not her death certificate. This one, she's the mother-in-law of whoever got married on this marriage record. Once again, mother-in-law, whoever got married there. It looks like these two are the same people who got married. Actually, that's the, yep, okay. And then we get down here, and these appear to be different people, not our Vio Bartholomew. Just the information looks different. So you can see there's a number of records that we could look at and get a lot more information on our person that we're searching for, Vio Bartholomew. And that's through the standard record search of Familysearch. And you can do that on any of the search engines, the family genealogical sites. But I like to use, once again, familysearch.org because it is free and it's easy to use. Now we'll talk about how to search in family tree search in the next video. So hopefully you'll stay and watch that and see if it's how different those types of searches are and what the results are different that you get. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please comment below and let me know. If you have anything you want me to know, or if you found anything exciting, I'd love to hear about it. Just comment below, and let's work together to help each other find as much as we can about our family tree and the people in it that made us who we are. Thank you for watching.